Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to edit a shapefile in ArcGIS Pro. So in this case we have a project going and it's a classification project, and we need to use this polygon shapefile that we just made to specify regions of interest or areas where we're going to collect training data for classification. So the file we created is here. It's called CP Training 2, and the attribute table is already open down here. So you can right click attribute table, and that's down here. The one thing I'd like to do before we start editing is change the preferences. And so to do that, we're going to go into Project tab up here. We're going to go to Options tab here, and then we're going to go to the Editing option here and scroll down until we get to Session, and we're going to click this button, Enable Editing from the Edit tab. Enable Editing from the Edit tab. The cool thing, and then hit OK and go back to the project. The cool thing that does, it now allows us to highlight our polygon shapefile, go up here to Edit, and it's added this little button here that lets us very easily turn editing on and off for this particular layer. So let's turn editing on. Then we're going to hit this Create Features pane up here. And notice it's got our CP training over here. So we'll just click on that, and it's going to drop down this menu. And the menu we want is this polygon. So we're going to choose this, and it's going to let us start drawing polygons by freehand. I want to point out to people in my class, the other thing I've added in here is I used the composite tool to create a stacked image of my raw worldview images. So I just stacked bands 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Those are the visible bands. And the reason I did that is so I can render an RGB display. So real quick, I'm going to take that, I'm going to right click, go to Symbology, and I'm going to assign red to band 5, green to band 2, and blue, actually we'll assign green to band 3. And this is going to give us a true color image. So it's nice to have this true color image as we go to select our training areas so that we can actually see what the different materials are. So also at this point we need to recall back to what are the different classes that we're trying to quantify. So one that we know for sure we want to do is water. Obviously it's over here, so I'm going to zoom in with my roller bar. And I'm actually going to pick out, I'm going to just start left clicking to create the polygon. Notice I'm going to make sure to get some of the shallow water so that we can actually get a variety of pixel types. Then I'm going to double click to finish it. It appeared in my attribute table. I'm going to give this a class value of 1 and a class name of water. Make sure there's no spaces anywhere there. Sometimes it likes to slip a space in at the beginning. So water with no spaces. Okay, now I'm going to come down here and do the same thing. I don't want to get too big of an area because it creates a lot of, call that class 1, water, again with no spaces. For some reason we lost our values up above here, so I'm putting those back in. And I guess I'll just do a third one over here where the water also has a bit of a different look to it. Okay, so we've got 3 areas that we're going to be collecting water from. And notice I've coded those each exactly the same, exact same spelling, exact same class value. Okay, now let's go do rock. If we zoom in here, we can see some of this bare rock, these gray areas. And I'm going to just carefully select a few of these areas of bare rock. There's also quite a bit of bare rock inside of the fort here. So I'm going to go and grab some of that. Notice I'm being careful not to drift onto the grass at all. I'm staying well away from the grass so that we only get rock pixels. Okay, and so there we're going to call those last three polygons rock. Making sure it's not slipping in spaces, very important. It wants to slip those spaces in. Okay, so now we've got three polygons that are rock. So let's go ahead now and do our next category, which is grass or field. And keep in mind, we've got a couple varieties of that. We've got a brown field here that is not green. Then we got some nice green grass up here. And so I'm deliberately capturing both of those. And I'll capture some of that over here as well. Okay, so we'll label all of those now as grass. So I'm going to continue this with my other categories and pause the video and then check back in when I'm done. Okay, so here's my map. I've now drawn a bunch of polygons. You can see that each polygon, of course, has a corresponding entry in the attribute table. I can highlight these by clicking over here. So you can see there's my water polygons. You knew about those already. Here's my wetland polygon right here. Here's some road polygons that I made, road and parking lot. Here's some scrub brush polygons that I made. And here's some forest polygons that I made. Actually, I see one of those is incorrectly classified. I meant for this to be scrub. If you're wondering the difference between scrub and mature forest, you can take a look at the canopy height layer. And the canopy height layer can be very valuable to show you the difference between the scrub, which is quite a bit lower in height than the forest. Okay, so with those, we're going to now stop editing by clicking this button up here, and we're going to save our edits yes. And in the next video, we're going to use these to collect some training data.